to the Laughing Monkey Music Show. Tonight we have Brian on from KIX. How you doing, man?
Great.
Well, it's awesome. You're actually on because you have a new re-release of Midnight Dynamite Relit, and
Hmm.
it's been remixed and cleaned up
Yes. Yeah,
from
it's
the big
weird because
'80s sound.
yeah, it's funny you mentioned it like cleaned up because I always thought that album was pretty good. The sound of it and everything, and
Yeah.
when well, I wasn't there when they talked about it, but apparently one of our shows down in Houston that we played, Bo had come out to see us, and well, he had already done the
Mhm.
remix of Midnight Dynamite, not Midnight Dynamite, Blow My Fuse. He was hanging at the bar with I guess it was Jimmy and Mark, and he mentioned wanting to do Midnight Dynamite, and those guys were really. It's like because we all thought it like he couldn't do any better,
Yeah.
and he kept saying, "No, I think I can beat it." Like he really wanted to remix that thing. So we because we had already done the Blow My Fuse,
Hmm.
like Mark is involved in all the stuff behind the scenes like that.
Right.
Uh, we discovered it was really easy to get the master tapes from Atlantic or WEA or wherever whoever has it, Warner Brothers, and so because it was easy to get those, we figured, well, we'll just grab the Midnight Dynamite ones too and let him do this remix. Because for him, it's like Bo said it was like opening a time capsule. Like when he got the package with the tapes
Hmm.
and then he got all the track notes and all that stuff, and there were even like old Polaroid pictures in there.
Oh, like the board, you mean? Like shots of the board or band shots?
Both, like just
Oh,
random stuff
wow.
in there, and he'd grab he'd see it and he'd go, wow, and it brought back all these memories, and so for him it was, I think it was cool for us, but I think it was even cooler for him to experience that. And it sort of brings it up to date too, because that was one of the things about it. It was kind of dated sounding, like the way the vocals were a little
Yeah.
buried, and there's a lot of effects on it, and he sort of cleaned all that stuff up and brought the vocals up, and now it sounds not as dated. Yeah, that was the one that sort of brought us above the surface, and more people started to record. It was kind of like the album that we came into our own sound,
But
really.
then you guys took a hiatus or whatever you want to call it. You guys got back together again. Sans a member, but you guys did more writing yourself as a band.
Yeah.
Rock Your Face Off. Great, great album. And I'm going to say, talk about it for a minute because no one ever talks about it.
Yeah, it's true.
And I don't know why. I mean, I've heard somebody say, oh, I know it's like an '80s or '70s, even a '70s feel to it. I like the lyrics better to it. I like the guitar. It feels like you guys are writing more together on a guitar together. It wasn't like crunch, 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 like a symmetry to it. I don't know if
Yeah.
it's just me hearing it.
Well, yeah, we had more freedom for one thing, because in the old days, Donnie wrote everything just about. I mean, there were a couple that
Yeah.
he didn't, but so he kind of dictated what we were supposed to be doing. I mean, every once in a while, I was able to throw in like an alternate rhythm guitar or something
Hmm.
that I was able to come up with myself, and all the solos and stuff like that. But this new record, it was because we didn't have Donnie, so we had the freedom to just do our own thing. So that's pretty much what you're hearing.
Without him, it's quite a strong album. It's not. It's a little different actually. I actually like this album even better than like Blow My Fuse or the Midnight Dynamite.
Well, that's cool.
Are you guys doing a lot of songs? Are any songs off that album when you play out?
Um, we sort of mix it up. Now we're down to maybe doing two during the set,
Mm.
two of them off there. When we first put that out, we played several of them. There are still a couple I wouldn't mind trying live that we haven't done, but I think we have so many other songs. It's hard to fit everything in, and we have to put certain ones in there.
I agree. Yeah.
So, and Steve always says, "Oh, people don't want to hear new songs." because you know sometimes when you go hear a band and you want to hear their hits or whatever or their certain songs, and when they you know they go, well, here's a new one, and they play it, and you're kind of I think I'm trying to remember exactly how many songs we've done off of there. I mean, right now, like the current set that we just did this past week was
Yeah.
we have Wheels in Motion on there, and we have Love Me With Your Top Down, which is Love Me With Your Top Down. We've had it. That's the one that's been most consistent because Steve does this whole crowd participation thing at the
Yeah.
beginning, and I think he likes it for the show part of it. But yeah, so we've done those two. We've done Can't Stop the Show. We've done Me Misadventure. We've done Rock Your Face Off. That's the other one we've
Okay.
done. So we've done quite a few, but
Good.
yeah, Rolling and Honey we haven't done. Uh, what's the other one? The last one?
Yeah. Rock and
Oh,
Roll Showdown.
Showdown. Yeah,
And
that one was cool too. To do
yeah.
like we had like a big road case full of guitars, so I could bring 5 guitars on the road. But now it's like I've got a double gig bag, and so I can only bring enough the amount of guitars that I can fit in the big gig bag and get on the airplane. So
Oh, really? So how
that,
many? Like 2 or 3 now?
well, it narrows it down to 2 for travel, but I keep a couple in at my sister's house for when we do local shows around in the Maryland area. So
Yeah.
I can grab like a third one. Well, it depends on where we play. If it's a like a fly date where we all fly, like say a festival or something,
Mm.
they have rented back lines at those places, and we request certain amps if they're available, like a Marshall, like JCM 800 or 900 or something
Mhm.
like that. And I don't. The only pedals I use, I have like this little thing that's got my wireless receiver on it and a switch box that's a true bypass,
Yeah.
and then I have a chorus and a tube screamer for my Strat. So those
Yeah.
I have the chorus for like the itch and yeah yeah yeah. So those are the only 2 pedals I have, and then I have the true bypass, so I can just when
Go
I'm
back
not
to you
using
too.
those pedals, I'm not engaged. So it's like I hate playing through anything, so I can go just straight to the amp, and that's
So
what I use. I've never been a pedal guy. I mean, I've used a couple of effects in the studio. Like if I'm in the studio, I'll break out like the wah wah or something. But
yeah.
live, it's like I don't want to deal with that. Plus, it messes up my sound. I don't like running through stuff. I like to just go straight into the amp. Like that's my sound. Is well, you were also asking about the other part of the travel is
Yeah.
the local Maryland or
Yeah.
around that the whole East Coast there, around Maryland, New Jersey, New York. Well, as far up as Connecticut even, and then down into the Carolinas. Those are all drive dates for those guys. So I have a whole setup like up in Maryland that I got 2 Marshall heads, I got a cabinet, I got like all that stuff. So it's a whole setup and it's my own stuff. So I actually like those dates because I you never know what you're going to get when it's a rented back line. A lot of guys have the pedal board for that reason, but I've just never
Just
been good with pedals. We're doing a show in North Dakota, and then the next night we're in Denver, Colorado. So we just fly to North Dakota, play that show, and then we have a day off in between and travel down to. So it's we're just jumping all over the place now. Otherwise it would be like a horrendous drive.
whoever hasn't seen it is go to his Instagram. It's all the most delicious food. It looks like like a gourmet chef is just totally doing this. I mean, what's your background on doing this?
I love to eat and I love to cook. I've always cooked. Um, Even as a kid, well, my mother used to cook, but then in between, like say in the daytime, my brother and I would, we'd be hungry, and my mother would go, "Ah, fix it yourself." So it was like, okay, well, if I'm gonna do it myself, I'm gonna figure out how to make it the best. So, I always looked at it like that, and then once I moved out of my parents' house, I had to do everything on my own, and I got into it, but it was a gradual process. And over the last, Well, I'm trying to think. I guess it's the last 20 years I really got into it. And then I got into the nutrition part of it
Hmm.
and uh, and the photography part of it. That's my meal for the
Are
day.
you
But
jogging for 5 hours afterwards?
I actually don't. I only eat once a day. So
Oh, are you doing the like you only eat between a certain time period?
yeah, the intermittent fasting.
Yeah, I like that. That's actually pretty good, actually.
And I don't eat. I mean, as you can see now, the whole nutrition thing. I sort of stumbled onto the keto thing like 5 or 6 years ago, and cut out all the sugars and grains and all that stuff, and then just through reading and watching podcasts and speakers talking, and uh, I I discovered the carnivore diet, which is all animal based foods.
Mhm.
So, and it's more of like an elimination type diet where you cut out everything except for the basics and then maybe add stuff back in to see how it affects the body. Because I've always had like weird reactions to food. And um, so I discovered along the way that all these years I had a problem with vegetables and fiber. It was killing me. So once I cut all that out of my diet, I do way better. And being in a band, I have to be image conscious.
Well,
So
yeah,
so this diet I can eat I mean, you see how much I eat. I eat a ton of food. I
yeah.
mean, I ate a steak last night. It was huge, but I don't have to worry about even counting calories or portion control or any of that stuff because I'm not eating any of the sugar or the grains or any of that. I just eat the basic fat and protein, and it just regulates itself, and just maintain. I mean, I'm not fat.
No, you're not. That's what I'm saying. I mean, I'm looking at this. I'm looking at you. I don't know where the math is coming from here. I mean, or you're doing like a lot of cardio, a lot. I couldn't even.
Actually, no, I don't do much cardio. I do a lot of weightlifting though. I do work out daily. I have to say that.
I can see that's when that's the other thing as you're getting older, and I think it probably makes the drummer more, but performing and holding the guitar, being on stage, having the strap on, all those hours, even running around or doing anything, it's a lot different as you
That's
than
the
when you were
cardio.
20.
Yeah, the cardio part of my whole thing, which is weird because we haven't hardly played this past year, so I didn't have that in there with my whole
Yeah.
workout routine.
So when did you guys start playing again? I mean, it's been pretty recent.
Not that recent now. I mean, it was right at the end of 2003 is when we got back together.
No, I mean like COVID.
Oh, after COVID.
Yeah.
This past weekend was the first show since we did one in November, we did one in October, and then we did a couple in September um, last year. So there were maybe five shows the whole entire year,
Wow.
and other than that, I've been home. So what else do I have to do but cook?
Or catch up on Netflix. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, I
It's
didn't even.
interesting to see what
I didn't.
everyone's doing now. When you guys have been on tour for like your whole lives, and now you're home for a year.
Yeah, the first few weeks it was weird, and I remember thinking, "Man, I got like all this time. What am I gonna do?" But you eventually figure it out, and I just had a routine. I did the workouts in the morning. Then I'd plan my meal, and I'd get the smoker out and throw some steaks on there. All that whole thing, and then take pictures, do videos, and I got used to being here this whole year, and then when we're starting to play again. Like we did the show this past weekend, and then we have. Well, maybe we don't have a show till June, but after June, it's starting to pick up again.
Yeah.
And I'm almost thinking, I know once I get out there, it'll be just fine. But
Right.
now I'm like, oh man, I don't feel like going anywhere. I like being home.
I wonder how many people that's going to affect. Like they're thinking that they want to do something because they're just not used to it, and also they get out there, and they're 6 months in, they're like, oh, you know what? maybe we should cut back some of the dates a little bit. I kind of miss being Homer. Maybe we should do more flyouts and less on the, you know what I mean? How much that affects people once they get kind of working again and get some of the cash too, because some of the guys haven't been working or
Yeah.
the crew and stuff. Once everyone gets settled in, being like, you know what, maybe we could ease up a little bit now and find a balance. You know,
Yeah, but I know, back at the beginning of 2020, before this whole thing hit, our calendar was like completely full all the way through up in the beginning of this year, and all those dates got pushed. So as soon as we get up and running, it's going to be nothing but like makeup dates, and so we're probably going to be a bit more busy than ever.
isn't it crazy at this point in your career? I mean, when you think about like this is like what, and you were, was it 77 or something when you guys started,
Yeah.
and now you're going to survive the apocalypse and be playing more. You know what I mean? Or as much as you were when you were younger, like really first starting out, thinking about your rock and roll dreams, and now
Yeah.
just as
Yeah.
much demand.
Yeah, it's funny because when we got back together after that, well, it was roughly a 10-year hiatus.
Yeah.
Um, we thought we were just gonna like get together for a few shows and have some fun and make some money. We didn't realize it was gonna keep going, and it's building and building and building. It's like getting bigger, and it's weird. And at first we were like, I remember we kept thinking like how long are these people gonna keep showing up? It was
I
like
was gonna like the bomb's gonna fall out.
yeah, we were waiting for the other shoe to drop. Yeah, and but they never go away, and which is awesome. Like our fan base is just so dedicated. It's crazy.
I think, and I agree with you. But with rock and roll though, or legacy bands or hair bands, whatever they want to call them, all right, fine. You guys have hair. We're gonna are so much lower loyal than top 40, and so like that's the balance you're gonna find. You'll find the artists that are cranking up on Spotify. Will be like a 12-year-old kid in their room, a million hits or something, whatever. They won't see the money anyhow, but they're not gonna be like they won't leave their house and be on tour or whatever and be able to be a full production and play out and have fans eagerly coming year after year with moments and memories with songs. And I mean, it's a whole thing there.
Yeah, yeah, um, yeah. Because we came from the days of just the nonstop touring, and all those fans from back then are older now, so they can afford to travel and
Mm-hmm.
take the cruises and whatever, and then they have kids that are starting to be grown
Yeah,
that are getting into the music as well. So it's multi-generational.
it is. One out of three of mine is into rock, so maybe sometimes the other one. But yeah, it's great. The cruises look so good. I have no desire to go on a boat, but I'm like, man, those cruises are starting to look so good. There's so many bands on it that I want to see. I'm like, oh,
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
I know.
Yeah,
It's being on a boat, being on a cruise ship, so it really kind of freaks me out. And then the virus came about and how it wiped out. How everyone was trapped on the boat. I'm like, there we go. That's my worst nightmare. Or the boat sinking and sharks. That's the other one.
yeah. I guess there are a couple things to worry about. But I remember going the first cruise that we had to do. I was like thinking about it. I'm like, oh man, this is gonna be a nightmare because you're trapped. You can't get away.
Yeah.
But but once we did it and I got used to it, it's pretty cool. And I think not only did I get used to it, but the fans got used to it too. So you can sort of wander around and people don't really, I mean, they'll come up and say hi or take a picture or something, but you're not getting mobbed. Like they're so used to seeing all the band guys walking around that it's no big deal anymore.
Right. And there's a level of respect because they see you doing something. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
They're not teenagers anymore. They're not you know that much, or they'll be afraid, like, kind of shy to come up to you still.
that's
Yeah.
true.
You know. Well, I mean, if you think about like the '80s tours are kind of like when we were younger, it's like the '50s. You know what I mean? The loyalty people still go to them. There's not going to be really no. I can think of any like '70s tours. There's not going to be. I doubt there's going to be like a grunge tour. The golden grunge years. No, I don't think it's going to happen. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I can't see the grunge thing making a repeat.
No, the few bands that were the top tier bands, you got Pearl Jams and Alice in Chains. Those bands are just going to play like regular rock bands. You know, which is what they are. You know what I mean? But all those other bands, I don't think there'll be gatherings. Not this big. They won't. The crowds aren't there for them. They're not as loyal. You know.
Yeah. Well, that was a shorter time period too, kind of.
It was. It was pretty good to
Or at least it seemed like it. But then now I think in the 80s was only that long too. So I don't know.
You guys were one of the few bands, and there's a few bands that could do it probably, and like Twisted Sister could do it. A lot of bands back then that could tour and had such a loyal fan base. Like you didn't need an album, and you're still gonna sell out a place. You know what I mean? From
Uh-huh.
that real grassroots touring.
Right. Yes.
I don't think we'll ever see that again.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's hard now because
Yeah.
you can't really um, you, a lot of the venues. There's not as many, and they're not open. It's like they're only open on weekends, and so if you're doing like a full blown tour like that,
Yeah.
like during the week, you just don't have anything to do really.
I mean, this is the thing I'm thinking of with COVID and going to clubs and stuff now, because you guys have played one club. But are there anything different coming in now? Are the clubs asking anything different from you guys, or are they handling it?
No, we actually with our contract, we put stipulations in there like we want to
You
bear.
cross out the brown M&Ms. Now you're putting in hand sanitizer.
Yeah, but
The rock and roll.
we have a barricade so the crowd can't get right in our faces anymore, and they have well nowadays we request the mask thing and there's been a couple where they actually take the temperature at the door and all that stuff. But
Really?
oh, I was going to say the other thing is we've sort of stopped doing meet and greets.
Oh yeah.
So
See, I'm a germaphobe. I would have been the worst member in the rock band up until now. Now I'm ready to go out with you guys. The big subway barricade, no meet and greets, high fives from your distance. I'll talk to you, but no one's getting the flu though. You know what I'm saying?
true.
With whatever you
Yeah,
guys do,
I'm sure too.
you're always gonna have the 10 people that sound really loud. Do you think it's everybody? It's like 10 people complaining, and everyone else will be like, "Yeah, it's cool." So, well, that is awesome. Everybody go out and get Midnight Dynamite relit. It sounds good, and it's actually on all the platforms. You can hear it. I was listening to it today on Apple. Got bonus tracks. Everybody go to the KIX website. Everything's on there. All the dates. They start in June 11th. I think is your next date, right? Looks like.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
In Texas. You take care. Thank you.
All right. Yeah.
All right,
Thanks for
thanks.
having
All right,
me.
bye.